Okay, so I thought it would be fun for me to do the accent challenge, okay? But I can't do nothing regular, so I'm going to give y'all a brief history of my accent, which I really don't think I have. Because I ain't grew up in the trenches like that. I'm just a middle class church girl that was exposed to both sides. But anyway, I was born in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm a Grady baby. The first place I lived with my mom when she left my dad after they stopped shacking up was I was born in Lithia Springs, so that was a rich neighborhood back in the day. But that's where my dad lived. And my mother was just shacking with him for the moment. That was before she gave her life back to Christ. But then when she moved out, we moved to East Point, Georgia, right? So my mama said when I was a little girl, she was like, "Where you live at, Zakira?" And I was like, "East Point, East Point." She was like, "No, East Point." With that being said, that gives y'all a bit of clarity on how I talk because my mother was very proper. So we lived in East Point, but mama wasn't about that life. They started finding bodies in them apartments, so she moved to another apartment, and I think I really ended up staying in Jonesboro when I was a little girl. We stayed in these apartments called the Regal Pine Apartments in Jonesboro, Georgia. Then we end up going. Can you shut up? Why is he being so loud? I don't want that on this video. Anyway, then we moved to this like motel like place before we moved to Dallas, Texas. We moved to Dallas, Texas, and stayed with my grandma and my uncle in Oak Cliff for a year. But growing up during the summertime when I stayed in Atlanta, I would go stay in Dallas, Texas in Oak Cliff with my grandma and my uncle. So we was always back and forth. And then we moved there. We stayed with them for a year in Oak Cliff. I went to JP Stars. I went to Faith Family. Then we left and we lived in DeSoto for like a year while I was going to Faith Family. And then we moved from DeSoto and we moved to the Grove for a good 4 years. So I stayed in the Grove from 3rd grade to 6th grade. I graduated from Edison Teich Academy and we stayed in St. Augustine Apartments on St. Augustine Road. And then it started getting really bad. Like they started having shootouts and bodies, and mama wasn't about that life, so we moved again. And we moved to Duncanville, which is really considered Dallas, but it was Clark Road. Rosemont and Bluffridge Apartments right there on Clark Road. What I like about that area was it seemed pretty nice and decent, like it wasn't like the hood trenches like that. Cause I don't want to be nowhere where it's too bad or it's too violent or people just don't know how to carry themselves, stuff like that. But I like it because it was real nice, real decent. Like you got the nice little part of Duncanville right here, but then you still got the black part right here, Redbird Mall just up the street, Duncanville High School, Redbird Mall. You got the black part right here, but then you got the calm little cool part of Duncanville right here. So it's like urban, suburban. So, and then I grew up there from 13 to 26 and I graduated. I went to Arts Magnet. So middle school, I didn't want to go to middle school in Pleasant Grove because I thought I was going to be beat up. I went back that life. I was a little punk back then. So I went to W.E. Griner in Oak Cliff for theater. Then I went to Arts Magnet. I got tired of Arts Magnet and Booker T. So I left and I went to Duncanville High School. That's where I graduated from. Then I went to Clark Atlanta. Then I went to TW. Then I went to Jarvis Christian College. Then I went to Texas College, back to TW, and I should have stayed at Jarvis Christian College. So that's my little rundown. And my mother, when I was like about 14 to 15, she started teaching me how to, speak well. You can't really tell right now because what I've been through and like growing up in Dallas kind of like turned my accent out a little bit more. But she was very classy. She was very proper. She majored in communications. So she taught me to enunciate and pronunciate. She was like, you make sure you know how to speak. You're a beautiful young lady. You got big lips, but open up your mouth and make sure you pronounce it. Let them know you're not a dumb black girl. Like my mother was, she was real. She was on that educated. She was about that educated black woman, classy stuff. She was about that. So she taught me how to speak well. I know how to speak well. Don't let me fool y'all. One of the words I commonly say, like I be on my videos and I just be talking, I might be like library. That's just how I talk. And they be like, it's not library, it's library. So don't get it twisted. I know how to say it properly, but if I'm just comfortably talking, what comfortably comes out for me is library. I'm finna go to the library. I just been countrified. I can't help it. That's what happened. But I know how to say it properly when I need to. Like I just like naturally it don't come out properly. I say library, but I know how to say library. But I don't talk like I'm not finna just enunciate everything extra like that. Although I probably should. So I'm saying I can, but that's not how I naturally talk. Like I'm a little bit more country and laid back. But my mother did teach me at a young age to talk well. She was like, being in Pleasant Grove, you got turned out. You start talking all that slang, and now you don't know how to talk right. But you know what I'm saying? She raised me right. You know what I'm saying? She wanted me to speak well, to carry myself well, talk right. Just a little background. She was very classy and all that. But growing up in Dallas, it just is what it is. You're going to get a little countrified. especially if you're not in the suburbs like that. And we wasn't. We was in the middle class, but we was still right there connected to the poor and the rich, everybody. So anyway, let's get into this accent challenge, boy. So y'all can see my face real quick, because when I turn this camera around, y'all not gonna see my face because the lighting is horrible. And I did try to fix it, but my tripod broke. So here we go. See how dark it got? Okay, let's see. Okay, so here we go. I'm gonna just run through the words. I see the list of words. I'm gonna just run through the words. Aunt, roof, envelope, route, theater, caught, salmon, caramel, fire, coupon, tumbler, pecan, both, again, probably, jipoy, lawyer, water, mayonnaise, mayonnaise. Do I want some mayonnaise? I don't be saying no mayonnaise. I be like, can I have some mayonnaise? I say mayonnaise. Pajamas, iron, naturally, aluminum, GIF, New Orleans, Cracker Jack, doorknob, Alabama, pajamas, library. I made up the last one, but that was it. That's probably was the boringest. That was the most boring accent challenge y'all ever heard. But anyway, that's my little accent challenge. I don't really think I have an accent. I think the girls that really like grew up in Oak Cliff like that, because I didn't grow up in Oak Cliff like that. My grandma and my uncle was over there, so I was always over there with them, but I ain't like legit grow up with them. I grew up with my mom, but we would still be over there with them. That was our family. You know, I'm still with my grandma, but I didn't legit like grow up in Oak Cliff, so I don't have that. To me, they have a cute, hard Southern accent. Them girls from Oak Cliff, like they got that hard accent, like they from, you know, the gutter, the ghetto, but they got their I don't know how to explain it, but it's like dark and hard. It's deep. They talk deep and all that. I think it's cute, but I don't think I really have it. I think I have somewhere of a mixture between suburban and ghetto. Like I have a mixture of the two, because my mother was classy, so she made sure I talk right. So my accent wasn't all the way turned out, like all the way hood. It would have been, but my mama was like, no ma'am, we're not doing that. So I think I'm somewhere in the middle right there. But anyway, that's my little accent. I hope y'all liked it. It's funny because the older I get, the countryer I've gotten. I think it's because of the stuff that I've been through. But it's cool. Like, it's fun. Why not add a little spice? You know what I'm saying? I thank God for that. No, maybe one day when I'm a gospel rapper, people can relate to the little stuff I've been through. But that's it. That's my accent challenge. Dallas, Texas, 214-469. Ain't that? Is that our area code? 972. All of them, baby. 214. Bang. Dallas up in this thing. Okay. Yeah, I know it's doing the most. But anyway, bye.